My name's Sam Powers, kind of my coaching pedigree. I started off at Lindsay, Oklahoma with Coach John Inman, and offensively we were spread and went with him from Lindsay to Pauls Valley, back to Lindsay kind of deal. After that, I kind of ventured on my own and went down to Frederick. Offensively at I was actually the defensive coordinator at Frederick. We ran a 4-2-5 defense, and offensively we ran the wing T. From there, I took the offensive coordinator job at Velma Elma, ran Flexbone there, had a good year. Second round of playoffs was a pretty good year, and then left there and went to Norman North to coach with Coach Barnes. Obviously, you guys know a little bit about his offense. I'd say that experience was one that made me feel the most ready to take the step now to be the head football coach at Newkirk, Oklahoma. We're a 2A school in north central Oklahoma, just above Ponca City, about 10 minutes. So, Coach Tig, he was a huge guy in me and a guy for me on the offensive line stuff, and I learned a ton from him. So like everybody says, nothing is truly my own. I've kind of twisted it and made it my own and worded it differently and maybe taught it a few different ways, but I've always stolen from everybody else. So that's kind of all of us, I'd say. But right here, we're going over GY counter. This is a big compliment to our inside zone. I have a really good tight end, so that helps. He works really hard. We're pretty undersized up front. I think my biggest offensive lineman this year was 270, but he was a one-way guy. The rest of them, my biggest guys were, we're averaging 160 to 190 our next four guys, but they do a good job. They work hard. So kind of how we do right here, front side gap package. We're working the angle drive technique on the one-on-one down block. We teach our guys that first step is that settle step, pick it up, put it down, an inside lateral step and load. We're going to split the difference in length and distance between you and the defensive lineman. Then our second step is going to be our punch, our aiming point there. We have the ability to change angles right there based on the alignment and the point of attack. Sometimes we're in react defender or alignment defender, just changes some things right there. Our eyes are on the nearest number versus a read and react defender, and our eyes are on armpit versus an attack the gap defender. Backside hand is going to punch up in the rib cage and slide head across chest defender to get that vertical movement. That's what we're going to do on our angle drive technique right there on the front side. I hope this is in order. Right here for our GT and GY pulls, traps and wrap technique, we call the kick block by our guard a Georgia pull. His first step, he's going to open. We're going to pick, point, and pull the door open. That's kind of the terminology that we teach with our guy. His second step's going to be underneath to push the door open. And then we're going to get downhill and run through that inside number of the defensive end. I tell my guys all the time, listen, if you're going to miss, you have to miss upfield so that he goes below you and we can get through the gap right there. A T-wrap, we don't really run a lot of our Texas pull, but it would just be the same thing for the tackle. His first step's going to be open, pick, point, and pull the door. Second step's going to be underneath, push that door open. We teach our tackles or our Ys both to follow the outside hip of that guard and then wrap right inside of his block. We're going to scan inside out and then accelerate upfield. The footwork for our Y, we teach a little bit different. We're going to shuffle first and then crossover. I know a lot of people don't like that crossover step because your tight end may could fall if he gets tripped up in the line with some of the offensive lineman's feet, but we haven't had a problem with it. We tell them be patient. You're following a jug butt, or you should be right there. It's kind of funny with us. Our guard is probably 5'6", 160, and my tight end's 5'10", 220. People laugh at that. Why is that kid not playing guard? But he's a pretty good athlete, and we like him there at our tight end. He secures the edge a lot for us. But follow the guard on his outside hip. Again, same thing we tell our tackle when he pulls. We're going to wrap inside that track block, scan inside out for the play side linebacker, and then we're going to accelerate up the field. From right there, kind of our terminology on our rub block our combos there. This is going to be used on the play side by two adjacent linemen or a tight end where both are blocking down on alignment to the farthest linebacker. You know, Coach Harper, I saw your strong PowerPoint, you know, and kind of we do a lot of the same things in that. Right here, call it Jack, Queen, and King. Is what we call center and guard. Obviously, is going to be Jack. Guard tackle is going to be a queen, and then the tackle tight end is going to be a king. It's pretty simple terminology for the kids. They know it. You know, our inside zone is going to be ABC or XYZ. So then when they're saying Jack, Queen, King, they know it just as a little different terminology for them up front.
I like that terminology, Coach. I think Walls used that with his receivers a couple of years. I don't know why. I think that's I think it's really interesting, and it's a good way to you know, kind of change it up with the kids. Like you said, let them know it's a new block, but also you know, it just seems to roll really easily, and it's hard to forget.
Yeah, I mean, it really helped. You know, this team I took over, they were 0-10 the year before, and it really helped to simplify it for them. And like you said, it just once they heard, you know, once that center hears that he's got a Jack or a Queen, you know, I usually let my guards call it because they're kind of the in-between. They'll kind of point it out and see it, and it's just been really good for us. You know, there's kind of the breakdown of it, the rub combos, double team of a defensive lineman to a backside linebacker right there. Jack's going to be center, play side guard to defensive lineman to backside linebacker. Queen's going to be play side guard, play side tackle for defensive line to backside linebacker. And then our king is going to be combo between play side tackle and play side tight end for defensive line. We'll make a gap call if all offensive linemen will work to seal their inside gap. You know, if you got I know, you know, specifically Coach Gower and, you know, Coach Gaylor. I know those guys, they'll walk guys up in gaps and stuff. And so sometimes we didn't experience that this year, but I know at the 6A level, you guys will see that a lot, and we'll just give a big gap call. And that means that we're going to trust our inside gap and work down to our next assignment. So that's also what we say right there. Our man calls in the counter play. We track the tackle or tight end, track to the second linebacker. Usually if our guard thinks that a guy can get it by himself, that angle down block, he'll just call track and let that other guy know, hey, you know, throw that feeler out there, but you're tracking to that second linebacker in the box. Choke means our center is going to block to the backside defensive line technique as the backside guard pulls to the play side. I mean, we teach that on every that's power and counter for us, kind of that gap scheme look. He's going to choke back every time, but he always gives that call to let the guard know that, or the guard know that he's gone or that he's helping on the backside for that guard pulling. Hinge, the backside tackle or tight end or both to block out the outside shade defender. We keep our tackle in a lot. I was fortunate this year to have a pretty athletic tackle, but I just was more comfortable pulling our tight end. So we hinged that backside a lot and just stayed on that guy. Every now and then we'll track up, though, and run some RPO stuff off of that defensive end and not block him. We just call that read, you know, the zone hinge too, where backside tackle is going to ensure the center's choke block on that 3 technique. If we got a 3 technique that's pretty good, we may try to help some or with that zone hinge right there, and then hinge back to their most dangerous rush guy inside out. And then we have the toss call by the tight end or Y to release a 6 or 7 technique to the second level. That's kind of that's not the same read key. That's just trying to get that outside leverage, kind of a log block right there to our second level. So, you know, counter combo blocks technique, the rub block combo, we're going to use this on the play side. Again, 2 adjacent linemen or tight end. Both are blocking down on a lineman to the farthest linebacker. We are uncovered on our inside zone rules. And so we try to kind of keep that Not too much different in the gap concept by the way we teach it and talk to them, we tell them, if this inside gap is a threat, we're going to work the same footwork and punch it as the angle drive. Stay hip to hip, kind of like we teach on the inside zone with the uncovered buddy by riding that inside knee high to fit. And we want to get that vertical movement and work for the backside linebacker. That's if we have that inside gap threatened and we're covered. Uncovered, the inside gap is not threatened. We're going to use that settle step footwork. Second step is going to be that outside foot to the crotch. Some call it the pin technique. And we're going to, again, stay hip to hip with the covered buddy by riding outside knee high in the fit and try to get that vertical movement and work for a backside linebacker. That's kind of how we teach our combo blocks. It helps just because that's a lot of how we teach it with the inside zone. And so it marries together for the terminology for them if we say those things and practice daily. Right here, we call our GY counter Cowboy. Some of the tags we have with our with our GY counter is going to be read, same. If we call blue, we usually have a pass off of it, or black, we usually have a naked boot off of it, or something to that effect. Right here, we want to call this play versus a 6-man box, where it's a downhill attitude play for us, is what we tell the kids. They're going to open. The quarterback's going to open step. We call it cowboy step sometimes, hand off the ball, and then naked away. We always want to make sure that we have, 6 options off of one play. So we usually have a naked, a reverse, a boot, some kind of different things, quick game off of it as well. Right there, our tailback, what we tell him, a line B gap. I know you for sure, Coach Harper, understand what we did with our back at Norman North. I do that still. We're going to motion our back to that side at the last second. So kind of try to throw off some tendencies from time to time,
Yeah, I really like that. I've seen a couple teams do that, and I know Bigsby does that as well. I think that's really cool, and it's something I've been looking into as well. I like that.
It was something at first when I started teaching it, I thought it was going to be hard, just the timing of our mesh point and different things, but it really just clicks with our guy. We'll just call Cowboy if we want it to flow with the counter, or we'll call Cowboy same, where he's going to hit same side as the pullers, and so he just motions right there before the snap, and B gap is what we tell him, and then we tell them to slide and dive, press A gap downhill, see the cutback. What we usually tell them, though, too, is that will linebacker, if you'll look at that slide right there, that will linebacker, if he flies out of there, we'll look to cut back a lot. We want to get our eyes there on that Willie linebacker, because if he's just flying out of there, we can cut back off of him, and it should be a pretty big play. Why we teach him, again, be patient, shuffle and crossover, follow guard on the outside hip, and wrap inside that trap block. We're going to scan inside out for that Mike or Will, whoever's there. Sometimes if that Mike gets caught in trash. It was pretty cut and dry for us this year. We saw this exact overlook. I mean, I would say every week. I think we saw an odd front once. We saw a 4-4, 4-2-5. I mean, every week, I would say. It's a lot different than when I was at Norman North last year, when we saw 2 even fronts the entire season. So right here, though, the weak side tackle, he's going to B gap. We actually flip our offensive line. I got that from TIG too. It just keeps guys in their rules. I also got that from when I was in the wing tee. It keeps a lot of confusion out of guys. My quick guard, he knows that I'm on Cowboy, we're pulling, and so if it's Oakland, in our power scheme, he knows that I'm angled down, so we just I like to flip our offensive line. So right here, our weak side tackle is B gap to second linebacker in the box. He's going to secure that B gap right here. Obviously, see on the guard, he's got a inside shade technique right there. So what right here is actually a 2-eye. We saw that a lot. We didn't get a true nose, shade. We got a 2-eye a lot. So he's got the uncovered footwork right there. So he's going to just throw a feeler and really track to that weak side linebacker. And our guard's going to angle down on that nose, that 2-eye right there. Right there, our center would give that choke call. That he's going to block back to that 3 technique. Right there, I have the B-gap hinge, the zone hinge for our strong tackle, just to let if it just depends on that 3 technique. We didn't truly have a guy this year that we were so concerned about that we couldn't be flat enough to get that 3 technique cut off. And if so, we more than not just went to the same side counter, so we never got there anyways. And then, right here you see obviously our strong guard. He's going to pull and kick the end man on the line of scrimmage. We played Morrison this year. I don't know if you know their pedigree. They do a really good job of squeezing that down. So this turned to a log quite a bit against them on that end.
Is that something you worked a lot that week?
We had to. I mean, I'm telling you, they're coached so well that guy was just squeezing, and he was not letting you get him dug out. And so instead of beating our head against the wall that week, we initially tried to go ahead and dig him out, and we just never could get it done. Their end was a big old dude, and so my little guard just we wrapped it and logged him right there, and we hit it for 92 one play and 71 for another. So it was a really good game plan adjustment to go ahead and log that squeezing technique and that even front. So,
counter sweep, one of the best plays in football. Osborne.
No doubt. And we changed, like I told you, we changed the depth of our back. Right here, if I call Cowboy same Tulsa, my back's going to line heel toe. And we did that a lot against Morrison because we knew we were going to have to wrap. So we were going to get in that tight end's hip pocket and cut off of his block on that mic. So it was good for us too right there. Different looks for us, on the Cowboy. We did not see any under this year. Right here, that guard's going to give a check 3 call, which is going to tell that weak side tackle that I need help. And really right here, when we get that 3, we want that tackle to take over the angle drive, and we're just going to settle step right there with the inside foot and work hip to hip with our tackle until he's got it, and then pull off over there onto the mic. Still same technique for our guard. We're going to pull the door, pull, point, and pin, right there, and kick out that end. And our tight end's going to shuffle step, cross over, and then get downhill onto that will linebacker. Also right there, we see the over G a lot, but right here we also are going to get the same call for the under G if we get that 2-eye right there. Instead of the nose, to give a choke call to block back on that technique. And then for us, I don't know about you guys, but we get an over and over G every single time we bring that sniffer back in. We had the 3 lined up over him, which helped us with some of the inside zone stuff. But we would just fan out and wrap inside right there on the inside zone. But for our GY counter, it was good too. Our center was athletic enough to back block. We call it that choke block right there, and work it down. So right here, again, in the over, we're going to be telling our weak side tackle to track as that guard. He's going to say, hey, I got this shade, track to Mike, and we know. So, communication is so huge on the offensive line. It's an art form to me to get all those guys on the same page and to make sure that they're communicating every single play. It's awesome to me. But right here we got an over G2. We're going to check that 2-eye. We saw this a lot this year because they knew our complement to our inside zone was going to be our, GY counter. So they were trying to fight over the top of that guard if he felt pressure down. And my guard right there was pretty good this year, so it didn't work a lot. It was a good play for us this year. So, then against our odd front right there, we try to give on that 5 right here is what I have drawn up for the weak side. We're going to try to give a vertical step to try to get him to kind of sit, and then we're going to track back to that linebacker. Right here we got a jack call with our center and our guard right there. In our experience in the odd and the way we do things in the odd, we see a slanting nose a lot. We don't see a guy that can truly two gap in the 2A level right now. And, I know Millwood had a guy that actually could, but we were fortunate enough not to see them this year. And then we'll track our guard onto that to the backside if we have to. But right there, we really want to work that jack combo. And then again, kicking our 5. We have different calls for that. If we give an on call, as you see in the bottom left, our tackle's going to stay on, and we're going to kick out that 9 or that post 9 right there, and just wrap up inside it. We'll fan that out, and our back will cut off of our tackle or our tight end inside of that. So,
that one, Coach, on that on call, is the center and guard, are they doing a jack, or is the center trying to flip by?
It should be a jack, but right here we're really trying to get a good push on this on call. Like I said, my guard this year was good enough. He'd handle that nose every time. What those two would tell each other is if my guard felt that he was going to getting a tip of the hand to the slant to the strong side, then we would just make a switch call right there where the center would go, or right in this specific that you're seeing on this on call, he's just tracking to his mic right now because my guard told him,
okay,
hey, I got this, especially if he's working, backside A gap. And so right here on the front side A, we're just going to track to Mike with our center. And that's just a call they'll have between themselves. My weak side guard this year was really talented, and so he could handle a lot of those angle drives by himself. He was good at getting flat, against a vertical push by the defensive line. So, against the odd stack, we ran this against the odd stack quite a bit against Hominy this year. Really good coach football team, but right there this was a really good play for us. I think we went for 75 once and 60 once on this same play, just hitting it right up inside their AB gap type deal. We have a jack combo on the backside, working to the Sam. And then we have the right there, you see the vertical step by our tackle and then work to that Mike just to freeze that in, slow him down just enough to let my guard get through there to clear. And then we have just a straight hinge technique on the strong side tackle on the front side. And then same thing by our tight end every time. He's going to get that shuffle, crossover, accelerate upfield, work inside out. But we knew, obviously we repped this a lot that week. We knew that they like to play that will almost as a 50 backer out there, and he would just fall back in. So we actually told him this week to look outside in instead of inside out that week. So then you got, again, on the odd back call, we have sometimes they'll call a cage call, which just means everybody down. They say GDB, gap down to backer a lot right there. And so, center right here, he's really got to work flat. We don't do this very, very, very often at all. If we got a slap out there at that 5 or that 4, we may let him try to work back to that 4 or 5 in the odd call on the back, and just everybody's going to cage down, and our tackle right there is going to track to the mic, and we're going to work the same kind of combo off the front side. So, and then I've always been told, by the good coaches, always have a plan for bear. Again, we're going to say, cage down. Right here when we see this, it's just going to be everybody on the back side of the counter right there is just going to cage down to that inside gap and protect. We have a few different calls just so people don't catch on. Cage is one, cage down, gap, just some different calls that they can say right there. We didn't see a bear in front this year. Maybe that means that we didn't run it enough. I always think it's awesome though when you do get that bare front because you've got somebody frustrated. But again, those are and then that was supposed to be over there. This is one of our favorite formations right there. Rover off Cowboy. It's kind of that tray off look. It was a big play for us because it would help us with the RPO on the front side of that to keep that end kind of in the in-between where he would slow down some. So pretty good play for us. Also gave us some flood concepts off of the back of it on the front side. So I don't know how that was supposed to be up there farther in the presentation. Sorry about that.
No problem.
But then I'll show you some clips. I don't make fun of me too much right here. I took over this program. Wasn't a lot of money in the program, so we really only have this. This wide angle right here, But as you can see right here, we're gonna get that. We got this team was a true 4-3 stack type team. They let this wheel fall back in. This is Crescent. They played for the state finals this year in Class A. Really, really good coach ball club. This number 30 was a stud. My little guard though, he took a lot of pride this year in getting low in hips and digging those guys out, and he did a pretty good job right here, kicking this guy out. He wasn't very low as I'd like him to be. This is very first game. You could tell we worked on it quite a bit. It was a good play for us, and I'd like to see this is that guard that I was telling you is so good, and then right here he's acting like a goober and thinking it's going to be okay to just kind of dive at his ankle. He's a big kid. He didn't want to block him. And we had a conversation right there that said, hey, we got to be tough, man, because if he makes that block right there, we may cut off our tight end and run for a while still. So, right there you're going to see our center block back. He gets pretty flat, not as flat as I want him. I don't think his first step's very good. He kind of is vertical instead of flat. And then you'll see that hinge technique kind of on the back side right there where he's going to step in and work that guy out. Crescent, this is probably the best defensive line we faced all year, and we knew about it. But right here, just a different change up, same game, Crescent. We're going to pull with our quarterback and let him run for a little bit. Just a quick tag of just putting Q on that, just get that split flow look. I was always told if we can't outrun people, we're going to misdirection you. And this is kind of what we did with that. I'd like to see our tight end right here to run through this guy. You see him kind of decelerate and try to figure out where he's going. We teach him to be, keep hips square and work through him, and he doesn't do a very good job of trusting it right there, but we're pretty young in the season. You'll see some clips in a little bit where he gets a lot better at it, throughout the year. You'll also see our guard. He does a better job. A worse job right here. It's just he's not trusting it yet this early in the season, and then our center does a better job of back blocking right there, and so does our guard. Our guard really works a better down block right there to keep that guy to run upfield and get out of our way. So, and then Cardinal Saints, this is against Hominy. This one I think went for 63 and a touchdown. This is actually, 3rd and 23, and we're like, hey, we're just going to go to one of our bread and butter plays, and we hit this counter same, and it looks really well. I think our back kind of made this play, but it always helps when you have a good back. But this is against an odd stack. You see kind of our rub block combo right there. I don't like – one thing I'm going to tell my weak guard right there is, hey, you can't turn your shoulders right there. We want to stay square and then work to that Mike. And this isn't so cloudy, or that Sam, and this isn't so cloudy. So pretty good play.
I like that technique, Coach, that your play side tackle's using that you were talking about, stepping vertical to keep that in from crashing down. That I think that I use that in a couple of different plays that we have, and I like that a lot.
And I got that. I got that again from Tig. We had a kid last year, and you played him this year, the Racy Jarrett kid. He just had that that vertical step so good that he'd make guys fall down. It was just it was awesome. I was like, we got to teach that. So, yeah, he does a really good job. Appreciate that. Right here again, just we're going to get this play? No, doesn't look like it. So right here, this is against Blackwell. This is actually my first win as a head coach, so it was kind of a big game for me. But you see a good down. We got more of a split look out of them this game. They were, double twos and trying to move those twos around a lot on us, and didn't really matter. Our guys, this is a big rivalry game, and our kids we're working hard. We're not this is game 2, still not as physical as I want us to be, but we were getting better. I want to see again this tight end drive through this block. But when he sees, he just kind of shucks him. I just want him to drive and stay hooked up right there. This is kind of our guard does a much better job of missing upfield here. I still want him. You'll see him later where he gets lower in those guys' hips when he's missing upfield, and that helps us a lot too. Same play, same team right here. This is out of our, Wildcat package right here. This is 21 right here. We got 2 tight ends in the game, and we're really working this. I was blessed with 2 fullback tight end type guys, and this guy's a little bit better at pulling, not as good at catching the ball. This is a short yardage package for us, and it worked every time. I don't know if we were first or second and 5, we were going to this. We called it Tiger, and it was a good play for us. So right here, you kind of see my tackle get lost because he doesn't have nobody to block, and there's no excuse right there. We're going to call him out for a loaf every time, So, but then right here, same play. We just a bunch of different looks, same team. I think our tight end does a better job that time finding him. We're trying to tell him to get lower in his hips and work downhill and be more physical right there. Again, I'm yelling at our receivers because I'm a receivers guy right now because my receiver's not taking pride in blocking, and that guy goes makes the tackle. So just some culture things that we had to change, and they ended up getting fixed. This is against Perry. It was, you see they're all really tight in the box, that 4-3 look, and we said we're going to run it till you stop it. And we just kept running it at them, and we were fortunate enough for them never to fully stop it. I think we ended up putting 56 in this game, and our back, he rushed for, I don't know, 250. It was a big game for him. So again, kind of now we're back into that where I bring that other back in. I'm sorry this is so quick, but we had shown that inside zone, and then right here, just out of nowhere, we just opened like the Red Sea, and we were running for a while. So a good back makes you look good too, but I'd say right there that you see our tight end right here just kind of get one of those blocks where you're kind of patting his back saying that's what we need. So, a lot of trash up there. You'll see a lot of my guys, and I hate it. I'm trying to get them out of it. Tired. We're cut blocking in there in the trenches, and I don't like that. I tell them to get tough and work that angle drive technique, and they're like, Coach, I'm tired, and that's never an excuse. So. But pretty good plays for us. I'd say it was probably one of our, I think we averaged 6.6 yards a carry on this play. We ran it 150 times or so this year. It was a good play for us. Our kids took a lot of pride in it. Right here, you kind of get the odd look from them. They went to a 50 later because we were running the ball pretty well, and so – and right here, our tight end does a good job of following and seeing the guy that's going to fall back right here. Our guard got confused. He should have let that guy just keep running upfield because we're going to run underneath him, is what we tell him. The first time he smacks us in the mouth, I obviously look dumb, but then the next play we're going to read him and go off for another one. So they do a good job sorting it out, though, right there, I think. My front side tackle does a good job of kind of delaying him with that vertical step and pushing off of him and getting to the linebackers. So, but again, same thing right here. Our back, I don't like our backs path. I like him to cut inside that block, but, you know, he makes it work. Still got a lot of guys standing around looking, you know, just some culture things that we're going to be changing. But I think we do a really good job running this play right.